my name is Henry Newnan. I'm a Warren City Councilor, and I've brought you here together for a gun safety lesson in gun locks. And this is a gun lock giveaway. We've got lots of gun locks. We also have lock bags for medications out here on the care table. And we have Jade, would you care to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jade's from Care of Southeast Michigan, and she's tabling here, so.
Oh, I can project.
Okay.
So I'm a preventionist with Care of Southeastern Michigan. We're located in Fraser, but we cover all of Macomb County, parts of Detroit Wayne, and Oakland County as well. I'm here today specifically with Warren Centerline Prevention Coalition. We are a community-based group of volunteers who care about substance use prevention in our communities. So we host a variety of different events specifically for youth and parents to get information, to help with that prevention, to build those resiliency skills and build those protective factors. If you guys have any interest in the coalition, please feel free to stop by the table. Again, the lock bags are provided as well for free. If you guys have any questions, please find me at the end of the event. Thanks so much for having me, Hal. All right.
Thank you so much, Jade. So we've got Donovan McKinney is an elected official here who's here tonight.
Appreciate it.
Donovan, if you wouldn't mind hurrying up, we're going to rush you. We've got microphones here and here.
Okay.
Please speak into the microphone.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Newnan, for inviting me here today. Thank you all for pretty much putting this event on. So, my name is Donovan McKinney, State Representative out of Michigan's 14th House District. That includes all of Centerline, parts of Warren, this side of Warren, where we're at in this library, and in Northeast Detroit. What we did last year was pretty much historic in the state of Michigan. Democrats, who first time in 40 years are a majority, we passed some historic legislation. 3 package of bills around gun reform. One of those bills were universal background checks. Another law that was implemented this year was IRFO, also known as red flag. But most importantly, in my view, is making sure that we have gun locks and gun safety, ensuring that and requiring by law that anybody who has a handgun or a firearm in their house must protect it and lock it up in a safe, especially if they have children at home. Because we have seen time and time again numerous stories of unfortunate events of kids getting into, their parents' things, and they might find a gun hanging, or laying on the table. They might see it on a dresser. They go ahead and grab it and start playing with it, and somebody dies from this, from the incident. And so we wanted to do what we could in Lansing to support and try to figure out how to mitigate those crises from continuing to happen. One of the things we're also working on right now, because I serve on the budget committee, is more funding for police, but in particular community violence intervention. I helped shepherd that in last year's budget, but we have some public safety trust fund bills that are going to be pretty much, it passed the House last year, it's going to the Senate. Hopefully we'll get that done this year. But these are guaranteed funding to all local police departments statewide in perpetuity, as well as for community violence intervention groups who are literally on the ground doing that crisis remediation and mitigation, helping folks to say, hey, instead of figuring out how to hurt each other based off a simple disagreement or just something that you might not understand, you guys aren't aligned on, instead of fighting each other in the streets, let's figure out how we can get you the resources necessary to make sure that you have a quality of life that's worth living. And so that's part of CVI work, and I'm excited because we got some money in the budget that is coming online right now, and we're looking forward to continue those funding. But I'll pass it to you because at the end of the day, this is serious, and I drove straight from Lansing to be here. I had some budget meetings because we're still working on the budget as we speak, but this is a lot more important to me to be present, and I appreciate everybody in the audience for being here. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So that was State Representative Donovan McKinney, and I'm about to turn over the floor to Joshua out of Love.
Out of Love presents Hugs, No Slugs.
Right. We've got 3 speakers: Joshua, Desmond, and Rosalind. And then we're going to have the police are going to introduce how to use the gun locks and what they're good for. There's also a handout about the laws around gun safety since the laws have changed recently.
And Sean on displaying the boxes as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you?
I'm Joshua Maxwell, the founder of Out of Love presents Hugs, No Slugs. My vision for this is to bring love back to the community. Love one, save one. Instead of hurting each other, we need to start loving each other. But I want to thank the library for allowing us to be here. All the sponsors, Out of Love, who made it happen, Enter Capital Funds, Metro staff, people doing the video. Appreciate y'all for coming out here. Appreciate the library once again. Councils, the reps, everybody that came, appreciate it, man. We need to bring love back to our community. Stop killing each other, start loving each other, man. It's time. You know what I'm saying? It helps to give somebody good words than bring people down all the time. Tell the person you love them. You know what I'm saying? Instead of hurting the person, downgrading, uplifting. That's all. But that's my vision, you know what I'm saying? Bring love back to the community. Out of Love, present Hugs, No Slugs. We give blankets out, coats, hats. Every season, we out here doing something for our community to help us all. Because you love one, you save one. We're going to let the police explain how to use the gun locks. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate them coming too, taking y'all time. I appreciate y'all coming too. So y'all come up and speak if y'all don't mind. Thank you.
Hello.
Here's the
Hi.
microphone.
Oh, okay. Thank you. How you doing? My name is Sergeant Reed. I'm with the Warren Police Department.
Can you speak right into the mic?
So nationally, half of all non-fatal firearm injuries are unintentional, and on average, there are 526 unintentional deaths of another 43,729 unintentional injuries due to firearms each year. So guns are safest when they are unloaded, locked up, and separated from ammunition. So which is the reason why we're going to go over our gun lock safety. I have Officer Dillon here and Officer McMahon, who are also going to go over how to use the gun locks on various types of weapons. These specific gun locks can actually be used for rifles, shotguns, revolvers, semi-automatic guns. As you know, in February of this year, they started a new law for the storage requirements that now have penalties. Per those laws, and the handouts that, did we hand those out? We have handouts, and it says if you store or leave a firearm unattended on a premises under your control, and you know or reasonably should know that a minor is or likely to be present on the premises, you are required to do one or more of the following: store the firearm in a locked box or container, or keep the firearm unloaded and lock the firearm with a locking device that is properly engaged to render the firearm inoperable by an individual other than the owner or the authorized user. So a minor is someone that is under the age of 18. It can be, this law can be charged for someone on your own premise or on someone else's premise that you bring a firearm into. And it ranges from a 93-day misdemeanor all the way to a 15-year felony. So after we hand the flyers out, we do have,
What separates the difference?
So what separates the difference is the misdemeanor crime. It'll be based on if there's an injury that results from it. Obviously, the worst case scenario would be death, and that would be your 15-year felony. The lowest would just be if you violate it by not locking up the firearm.
Just having it out there?
I'm sorry?
Having it out there and exposed?
If it's exposed where there is a reason to believe that a minor is on the premise, or you obviously couldn't get a hold of it. That's the difference between it. Officer McMahon, you want to go over how to use the locking device?
So just to kind of follow up on what what Sergeant Reed was saying. Best practice, if any of this is confusing to you, best practice is if you're not in physical control of the firearm, secure it. And we'll go over securing it in just a second, but that's one of the major changes is that was kind of a good idea before, and like Representative was talking about, now it's a law. So it's important to, keep your firearm secure if you're around a firearm, to know how to handle it and how to safely interact with that firearm.
And this is to you all, the state rep, I don't know why you got down so quick. What are we doing to educate the community other than people who do watch the news, they may know? We are not educating people. You stop people every day. In some laws, they don't know.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry, I forgot to ask for everybody to please hold their questions until we have a chance to get done with the presentations. Thank you so much for your understanding.
Okay, I thought.
Because we're trying to educate people right now, so please go ahead.
Sure. Yep. And we'll get to that. Kind of briefly to touch on that. Things like this, community outreach, and in contacts with citizens and stuff like that. I mean, we're people too. We understand it. With new laws coming up like this, not a lot of people have been reached by that message yet, and so that's kind of part of our job as well. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense to me to ask. When you hear we got 5 people here, I'm a pastor and owner of the largest black newspaper. I want to know so I can inform people.
Absolutely.
And the counselor may not understand that, but people need to know.
Understood. We'll touch on that in just a second, okay? And I understand you want some more information on that, but for right now, let's go into how to properly lock the gun. That way, explaining the law might make a little bit more sense to folks, okay? So some of the locks that we have to hand out to folks, and they're available right up here afterwards. If I'll explain it and you show them. So the locks look like this. They're a cable lock, and they operate with a key just like any kind of padlock. So you'd unlock it with the key. Got it? Yep. So you unlock it with the key, and this cable is meant to tie through either the barrel or the ejection port of any type of firearm, right? So you have different types of firearms, obviously. They're not all made the same. You have revolvers and rifles and all sorts of things that are made, right? So the cable is made to be long enough to work with any of those types of firearms. The idea of it is to get in the way of the firearm actually locking closed, and to make it so that ammunition can't be loaded into the firearm while it's stored. So basically, to open it, you unlock it just like any normal lock, and then you just close it, and it should clip into place. Might need the key. They're all a little bit different, depending. These ones you need the key for. So you open it and close it with the key.
Just pops right back in, turn the key, and it's locked. In a way, you're jamming the gun, so it can't be loaded, unloaded, can't be messed with in any way.
And you show us yours.
Right, that's what
You have a
I'm
gun
saying.
that-
Demonstrate.
Is there a gun that we can, how you jam?
Unfortunately, we can't use ours just because we would have to unload it right here, and it's not safe.
Go through the opening. How much clear?
Yep, so to kind of visualize, if you imagine the barrel of the firearm is a hollow cylinder, and it goes from the front of the firearm to an opening in the side of the firearm, right? This cable would weave through that barrel, and then you lock it closed behind, making it so that ammunition can't be loaded into the firearm. It can't operate, the slide can't close and open freely, and it's locked behind itself so that only the key can free it from its jam, like he had said.
You have the little one and the long one?
Right now, today, we just have the one size, and there's ways to make this one size fit any type of firearm. And we'll go over that kind of case by case. I know everybody has been around maybe different types of firearms or different experience levels. And if there's case by case questions that we didn't go over or visualize together, feel free to ask us, specifically with your firearm that you have in mind, and we'll help you kind of imagine how to work this out, okay? Yes, sir.
Would a hunting rifle with a removable bolt action, if you take the bolt out of it, would that qualify as being disarmed and inoperable?
Yes, sir, to a sense. It would still need to be locked up in maybe a case. It is made safe by removing a part that is obviously integral to the operation of it. If there's a way to install a lock on it, it's probably better that way as well. You can never really be too safe with that kind of stuff, right? And that's kind of what we're getting at. If there's something you can do to make yourself safer or render that firearm unusable if you're not the one trying to use it, you want to get away from having maybe a house guest get to the gun, or perhaps a kid, or anything you can imagine, maybe someone, heaven forbid, breaks in or something like that, right? So you want to keep that firearm as safe as possible, whether it's locked up with this, taken apart like he had mentioned, or even all three locked up in a cabinet, right?
Why is it important to have a gun lock? What happens when people
Councilman,
don't have
don't you want to wait till the end?
Thank you. Okay, so we know how to use gun locks now. Why is it important to have gun locks? What does it do to the situations where guns get misused, like little kids?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
So when a lock is installed, obviously, like we had mentioned, it renders that firearm unusable until it's unlocked and then loaded back up. So it's important to keep your firearm unusable until you're ready to use it. It goes along with some of the firearm safety rules that some of us may or may not have heard of. There's 4 of them, or 5 of them. I can read them off to you if you'd like. There's 5 of them. So the first one is treat every firearm as if it were loaded. That's important because regardless of your experience level, you may not know the condition that firearm is in when it's presented to you. Or if you're just picking it up out of your cabinet, you may have forgotten that you left the magazine in, or you may have forgotten that there was a round in the chamber. So treating every firearm as if it were loaded is a very important rule. It's the first rule. Always pointing the firearm in a safe direction is also one of the cardinal rules of firearm safety. Even if you know that firearm is unloaded, it goes into kind of a training mindset where if you're handling that firearm willy-nilly and you're just, it's empty or whatever, and you're pointing it everywhere, and then all of a sudden now you're ready to use it, you don't have that discipline. You're not instilling that discipline in yourself, pointing that firearm in a safe direction. It's really important to only point it at something that you intend to destroy, right? Because firearms can do that. All right. Always keep your finger off the trigger. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. So, not walking around like you see in the movies. Anytime they pull out the gun, it's always on the trigger. You don't want to do that. That's not a safe practice. It looks cool in the movies, but that's not the way that you're supposed to handle a firearm. That's why it's just in the movies. When you walk around, you can sneeze, and or any number of things can happen if you're not prepared to actually use that firearm, whether you're at the range or, heaven forbid, in a self-defense situation. The 4th rule is to keep the firearm unloaded, locked, and the safety on. Some firearms, as we know, don't have safety switches. They have internal safety mechanisms. My Glock people out there, they know what I'm talking about. Some firearms have safeties that are internal or built into the trigger, or perhaps the grip and the back strap of the grip. There's all types of different safety mechanisms, and that kind of goes into knowing how your firearm works. Pretty big deal, because if you're going to have something that has all that power to it, great power comes with great responsibility, like Spider-Man says, right? So know what you're dealing with, right? if you have the ability to figure out what you have in front of you, always try and learn about it. So keep it unloaded, locked, and safety on whenever possible. Okay, so whenever you're not using it, keep it locked up, and that's why we're talking about the locks, lock boxes, and that new law that we're speaking on as well. The fifth and last rule is to never take anyone else's word that a gun is unloaded. So if someone hands you a gun, oh, it's fine, it's unloaded. Don't trust that. Double check. Obviously follow the rest of the firearms rules, and you can go from there. But a firearm isn't something to necessarily be scared of either. It's all about knowledge and knowing what you're dealing with, knowing what's in front of you. It's a tool just like anything else, and it can be a lot of fun. If you go to the range, there's competitions and things of that nature as well. So it's one of those things that you need to educate yourself about, because it can be very dangerous as well. Okay. I hope that answered.
I think so. Is there anything else you want to say about gun safety?
Keeping in mind what we said, or what I said earlier, and he touched on as well, this gun lock ensures that your guns are also unloaded. So having one of these is very beneficial, because you cannot use them without unloading it. The other thing to keep in mind is when you do have one of these, that do not store the key with the gun in the lock. I mean, and then obviously, and you want to keep,
leaving the key in the door.
right, and then the other, keep your ammo separate as well. If you're a gun owner, you're responsible for anything that happens with that gun. Regardless if you're there or not, it's your responsibility, and you don't want to be the one day that someone else loses their life because you didn't take that extra step to lock it up properly. I think other than that, is there anything?
We can demonstrate, like I had mentioned before, we can demonstrate how to use them. If you have any questions, want to get hands-on, when we hand them out, shoot away, ask the questions. No
He's
pun
got a
intended.
question for you.
Sure.
I feel special you brought me to mine.
That's right. Now I can hear you better.
My real question is it a contract thing that you use in the cables versus the little plug to go through the...
Are you talking about a trigger
Yeah,
guard?
the trigger guard.
It's just what we had more of to hand out. It's
Right.
as long as you're locking it up, like I
But
had said.
do departments have more than... I notice everybody uses those
So,
Right.
until you go south. And when you go south, in Atlanta, they were doing the plugs. And to me, for shotguns and some of the other guns, like that little cable don't fit those big guns.
it
But
will.
they do have the long
If you
pipe.
put it
Can I
through,
have that clarification answer?
so actually I worked in South Carolina PD for about 6 years. So we had these down there
Welcome back to real
in
city.
South Carolina. So these will work on long guns. It's just a matter of how you're putting. You're not going to put it through the barrel. You're going to put it through the ejection port and out the magazine well. So that drops the magazine from it, and it clears the ejection port so that you can't load around into the ejection port. So these will work on long guns as well as regular handguns.
Well, I guess I'm concerned because you do know wire cutters can cut though.
I mean,
Where is the little
anything can be
plug?
cut if you have determination on getting in, and getting it. So, but that's where it goes back. If that's a concern of yours and you're a gun owner, I would lock it up in a safe. I would not only apply this on there, I would also lock it up in the safe, and the ammunition, I would put that in a separate location.
I'm just curious if the plugs are more expensive, is that why you don't see them, or is it?
So a price range, I don't know. I know that these universally is what law enforcement typically has. And speaking on that, if you need one of these and you don't get one of these at this location, you can get these at the police department. You could just walk in and you can ask for them. They're free. There also is, if you don't want to, if for whatever reason you can't get to the police station, but you have internet capabilities, there's a website called projectchildsafe.org on there, and you can get them from there. You can request them from that location, and not only that, but they actually have videos that and resources that you can actually have your children watch with you. And it actually does. I watched a few of them. It helps you bring it up to your children on how to explain to them different safety procedures and what to do in the case that they do find a gun. And for the children, and anybody who doesn't know that, for a child, if you do find a gun, first thing you do is you stop. You do not touch that gun. You leave the area and you find an adult. As an adult, if you find a gun, still don't touch it. Call us and we'll come get it. So.
I'll point out too, just kind of to touch on what you guys were talking about, different firearms platforms, different type, long guns, pistols, revolvers.
That's the instruction sheet out of the gun lock package, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the instruction sheet on the gun lock package. It gives you step-by-step instructions. It also shows you pictures on how to use it for different types of firearms. Now, obviously, there's all different varieties of firearms, and it's possible that you may come across one that it doesn't work, it might not have a way to fish this wire through. And that's where we talk about the plugs that you were talking about, safes. There's different methods to lock it up, even just taking it apart like he had mentioned, things of that nature, right? So really we're just aiming to keep the weapon unusable when you're not using it, and then secured and safe so you know that if you happen to leave the room, nobody's going to come across it and actually use it, right? So.
And you can always come to the police department you can always come to the police department if you guys have questions or if you want to call us. We're 24/7. We are there.
You know y'all don't make it friendly. Anybody coming to a police station? Because you're supposed to be no question. I mean, actually, to come and you need to say that on the mic
I'm sorry?
for the recording. There's no questions asked when you come for a gun lock, right? I know in Detroit.
No, we're not gonna. If you just come in there, if you want a gun lock, you just come up and ask for it. Kind of self-explanatory if you ask for a gun lock, what you want it for. So, but yeah.
No, I just want people to know
there's
that you
no
come without
right.
volunteering.
Okay. There's no record keeping if you come and get a gun lock. We don't keep track of you or anything like that. If you want one, you just come up and you ask for one, and we'll give you. We'll give you one.
Safety, not integrity.
Right, and yeah, you don't need to be a resident. You can go into a police department. Most local police departments you could walk into and ask for them. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Council, my only other inquiry, and I'm saying since we've been to this, is you have 3 legislators here. I just want to make sure that on everybody's table is the education for it. If it's a new law, and we all tired of seeing these kids get shot, when they're hearing about them being in a hospital, I'm quite sure anybody who got a hard ear, it pours, I'm getting goosebumps now. You just hate to hear of it. I just left New York and it was another shooting. And it's just ridiculous. It's happening everywhere. Thank you for inviting me and sending me that text. I literally just got here from Connecticut. But I'm so glad for stuff like this because we're educating people. And all I ask everybody in the room, don't be selfish with it. Learn it to share it.
Absolutely.
If we learn it to share it, then we can help our community councilmen.
Thank you for your help in spreading the word. I'm glad you're here. We also have Councilwoman and Vice President of the Warren City Council, Melody McGee here. I always appreciate Melody's support, and she's a very knowledgeable person and helpful. I wanted to mention that we have medication lock bags out here on the care table. If you have any prescriptions that you want to keep out of kids' hands or other medications, a lot of tragedies can be averted with those, pretty much like the gun safety. The police officers are welcome to stick around if you want. If you need to go, it's okay. And I'm going to turn it over to Josh. I think the best part of you guys are really good. The best part of this might be coming up. Let's have a round of applause for Joshua is going to introduce himself and the other 2 main speakers that we have today.
First of all, we got one more gun expert. He's a gun trainer. He's gonna come up here and give y'all an example how he used his gun locks and his gun boxes. Sean, would you step up here, please?
Joshua, she wants to explain.
Okay, go ahead.
Just be real.
Go ahead. You come up.
So I apologize. The misdemeanor version of this crime, the 93-day, $500 both, is if you fail to store or leave a firearm in a required manner and both of the following occur. A minor obtains the firearm and the minor possesses or exhibits the firearm in a public place or possesses or exhibits the firearm in the presence of another in a careless, reckless, or threatening manner. And that is on those sheets that I gave you as well. It's written in the back.
Okay, that's it.
My name is Shane Goodbass. Resident here in Warren, grew up in Detroit, Army veteran. Here,
Shane,
also.
can you speak closer to these mics?
Okay.
Thanks.
Also, I'm a certified CPL and firearms instructor through the USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association, and the NRA. We know the NRA has been around for a long time. Here, what I have today is a little bit to piggyback off of what Officer McMahon and Dylan were speaking about earlier with the gun locks and safety. So there were questions about how to further protect the firearm through the gun, past the gun locks. Now here, I have a ammo box. Here's used for storage. I have some examples. Everything is cleared and safe. They checked it out earlier before the presentation. Here I have a box. It's got space and room here for multiple firearms. Can you hold this, please? So for multiple firearms, here's an example. One's Glock demo or demo gun. Here's a Glock 42 demo gun. It's enough space for 2 firearms. It's a magazine holster. It's empty or unloaded rather. And this is to demonstrate the size of an ammunition case. So here, this box is big enough to store not 1 but 2 firearms. I don't know if you all can see, but 1 and 2 more firearms, depending on the size. I mean, handguns, depending on the size. Here, it's got a double lock function here. It's also enough space to put a padlock in. So, I don't know if that answers a couple more questions past what was brought up. And also, like they were saying, these cables, I have some here in the boxes as well, with padlocks with the boxes, so it's 3 items per box. No, these aren't the only type of firearm cables and locks, but like he was saying earlier, if it's a price point thing, I always ask everybody, you want to save some money or you want to save your life? So that's just a question I ask everybody when they come to me for training and when I give my explanations and examples. So I know zooming, I don't know if they're able to zoom in, but this is my small contribution to this field. So
Are
thank
you giving away those boxes?
Yes, they're here. I gave out a few in the parking lot before the demo started.
Excellent.
They're here for the community.
People just come by and pick them up when
Yup,
they're
everybody
done?
just come by, pick them up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
I forgot to mention these. Everyone should take some of these to anyone you know who has, everyone should take a child identification kit to anyone who has children. We have a huge box of these here, and it has DNA, a place for the current photo of the child, and if your child ever gets separated from you, you can take this to the police and they'll have everything they need to get your child back to you as quick as possible.
I did that when my child was in preschool, and he's now 15. And I haven't had to use it, but
Okay.
I still have it locked
Are
in my
you
safe.
going to pass them out?
So I'll pass them on.
No, you can pass them out where you go.
Oh, sure, yeah, I can
so-
take them.
Sorry for
All right, my name is Joshua Maxwell, as y'all know, and I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story about me. Back in '06, violence got me paralyzed in a coma for a year. This is a medical record. I was John Doe. Every bone from my neck down was broke. I don't even supposed to be here, but God got me for a reason. That's why I came up with the idea of hugs, no slugs. Out of love presents hugs, no slugs. Because I love my people. No matter your color, your skin, human is a human. So we need to start giving back to each other. Let's build each other up, stop hating each other. It takes more to hate somebody than to love somebody. Everybody say they love God, but God is love. So how you love God and you don't love your brother who you see? So my thing is, I had to learn how to walk, talk, all again. When Desmond first met me, I was on a walk, couldn't even walk. I had to learn how to walk, talk, all that again. And God put it in my heart to help someone before they go through what I go through. Fourth habitual, supposed to be doing the rest of my life in prison. So God put it in my spirit. After I came out of coma, I made my commitment that I'm going to follow his path and I'm going to help people instead of hurting people. And it's been working. I pass out covers and everything to people. I don't care how I do it, whether it's my money or the community money, we're going to get it done. People need to start doing that. Yesterday on Hugs No Slugs, my page, there was a person eating out of a garbage can. Who does that? I stopped my car when they brought him some food. Because why? Love. So that's what everybody needs to start loving each other. Love one, save one. You love one, you'll save one. Everybody quick to pick up a gun, quick to hug somebody. You shoot somebody, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, your whole life messed up. You not only hurt them, you're your family, plus their family. So that's the mission of Hug No Slugs. We just trying to love each other, man. It's like I cry every time I turn on TV and see foolishness happen. We live in the last days, but come on, man. 3 months ago on Algonquin and Jefferson, I had a female friend. A situation happened when a male left a gun and the 8-year-old shot the 1-year-old in the face. The baby lived, thank God. But we gotta be more responsible. As an adults, we know better. Why would we leave a gun on the table like this, loaded, and you got kids? You know, kids are curious. They wanna see, they thinking it's a fake gun. Incident happened, so my thing is we need to start loving each other and giving back to each other, stop hating each other. So now, with that said, once again, like I said, I'm glad to be here. If you look at this, y'all can see this, every bone in my body down, my neck down was broke. I don't even supposed to be here. So my thing is, love one, save one. And thank y'all for listening to that. I'm gonna bring up Rosalind, my auntie. She got a good testimony to tell you about her story. So welcome Rosalind to the podium.
These microphones, this one and keep it real close to your face would be great.
All right. Okay. Hello. My name is Rosalind, formerly known as 255-292. Briefly, I would like to share my experience with gun violence. In 1996, I went to a party. The owner of the house who gave the party, money came up missing. She locked the doors and threatened not to let anyone out of her house. Unfortunately, I had a gun that was not in my name, nor it was not my property. This incident costed me 18 years of my life. Oof. During my stay at Scott's Correctional Facility, I learned so many things about myself and my life. Towards the end of coming home, my mindset had changed. I lost a lot. My siblings, my husband, my mother. I'd attended most funerals with handcuffs. My children had to see me like that. I had to parent my children behind bars, which was extremely difficult. I remained in prison. I've been married for 11 years. My anniversary was yesterday. If I can take that day back, I would, but I can't. From time to time, I think about my victim and her children, especially during Mother's Day and holidays. This is something that I will have to live with the rest of my life. I told myself that I did not want to be the same woman I was once upon my arrival to prison. So I did what I had to do. I went to school, I obtained my GED, certifications of all kinds. I took anger management, grief loss, cognitive thinking, anything to change my mindset. This is a critical time in our lives. Our children has too many accesses to guns. They are dying almost every day. I am so thankful to so many programs like Hugs and No Slugs, free gun locks provided by the police department, and countless others. There is no reason for our children to have easy access to guns. We have to, as parents, have to get into their mindsets to see what is going on with them. Who are they hanging around? What are they doing? Is there something else we can do to grasp their mind? For me, I was torn in the mind. I had been through so many things in my life. No one to talk to, was embarrassed of my situations at the time, too scared to talk to someone or be judged. I used to pray that I could meet someone who could understand my situation during that time. This is why it is so important to communicate with our children. We do not want our children to be afraid to talk to us, no matter what it is. We have to be responsible in the home. It starts at home. It's easy to get in trouble, but hard as hell to get out of it. I had a 10th grade education and a life sentence. I looked up words I did not know and learned how to file motions and went back to court. My sentence was reversed to 18 years. Before going home, I had to see the parole board and give them explicit details on how and why I committed my crime. I will never forget the emotions that I went through that day. Sometimes I think of how I could have handled that situation differently. Maybe I could have resolved with her the issue or asked her, how can I resolve this matter? I'm not sure, but I think about that a lot. It takes a village. When growing up as a child, the neighborhood was our parents. All parents need to be involved. When I got in trouble, I had to answer to the whole neighborhood. Our children gravitated by the phones, games, computers. We need to detour their minds by taking them to church, participating with them in family activities. TV are preconceived ideas based on what they are watching. The violence and sexualities are being exposed to them. It starts in the home. We have to do more. It was shameful when I was growing up to talk outside the house. I was taught what goes on in the home will stay in the home. I inhaled so much trauma. This is why it's important for us to talk to our children and let them be able to express their feelings to us. I have 3 sons. They asked me questions concerning my case. They were looking into my eyes to see if I was honest with them. And I was. After the conversation, I told them if I can come over to their house and borrow some sugar, I can pay that back. If I broke something, I can replace it. But this time, I can never replace. I suggested family counseling. They told me that they didn't need it. I found out after I was released that they did need it and they still do need it. My sons, sister, husband, and family, I miss them so much. I could not spend the adequate time with them. Parents, we need to take more responsibility by talking to our children to see what is in their minds and their thinking process. There is a need for more education on guns from the parents, the cause and the effects. I thank you for this opportunity to be able to speak at this event. My name is Rosalind Davidson, without no number. Thank you.
Now, I want to just say one more thing. Y'all know what's so crazy? Research said 95% of murders that happen is by kids. That's a health criticism we going on right now. More kids killing people than people ODing on cocaine or the fentanyl. That's kind of crazy. So that means we need to start thinking, become responsible adults. A little baby killing themselves, man. Something just happened to Warren. A felon hit a gun, baby shot themselves. When we gonna care about each other? It's crazy every day you turn on the news, a kid getting killed. When did this happen? So we need to lock down, man. Put good seeds in these kids' head. Not telling them what to do wrong, go sell drugs, go do this, you ain't gonna be nothing. They're gonna make them do what you want them to do. Make them uplift them. Make them become the next councilman, president, elector, whoever. Plant a seed in the child's head, and they will be that. So the next guest is Desmond. This is gonna be interesting, y'all. You know, give them a round of applause.
How everybody doing today?
Real good.
My name is Desmond Stratford. I'm also a member of Out of Love. And today I want to talk about the proliferation of gun violence in our community. But not just proliferation of gun violence, I want to tell my story. But first I want to get into the proliferation of gun violence. We can all agree, no matter what side of 8 Mile we came from, that gun violence affects us and our children. The proliferation of gun violence. It's funny, the CDC said the #1 cause of children death is gun violence. Since 2020 on now, they said gun violence was crazy. 2021, 4,752 children were killed. That's more than the first year of the COVID pandemic. That's 13 children a day murdered. Senseless because it could have been prevented by not having gun locks. By not having gun locks. Also, we understand that, the CDC also said that it's a global health problem, the gun violence we see every day. Now, we can look at any parts, whether we're from Warren, Michigan, the inner cities of Detroit, or down to Oxford. It's a beautiful thing that he brought up. Last month, April 19th, an 8-year-old in Warren climbed up on a chair, got possession of a firearm, and shot himself in the face. Critical condition. 3 months ago in February, the city of Detroit, 11-year-old girl sleeping on a couch, waiting to get up for school, was shot in the head by a stray bullet. And we all know about 2021, the Oxford High School, a gun is not secured. Nathan Crumbly took it and went to school and murdered his classmates. The proliferation of gun violence in our community needs to stop. When I say our community, it's all of our community. It's a bigger problem. It's not just the inner cities of Detroit. It's not just happening some places in Warren, Michigan. Everywhere, we're having this problem. But I want y'all just to think with me for a minute. Just imagine this for me. Imagine the month of December, right before Christmas. Kids outside playing. They're throwing snowballs, so the kids get into a fight. The grown-ups come outside, split the kids up. One group of the kids go in the house. They're in front of the Christmas tree, playing, grabbing their presents, shaking them, seeing what they got. The other group of kids go home and they tell their parents, I got into it with the people across the street. One of the adults in the house decided to grab a firearm. I'm gonna go see what the problem is. He takes the firearm, he jumps in his car, pull it down in front of the house, shoot 4 times in the house. Right through the window, right in front of the Christmas tree. pulls off. Out of the 4 shots, he hit 3 people. He hit a 7-year-old girl, killing her instantly. She will never get to have a backpack. A 5-year-old little boy shot in the head, paralyzed. He will never be able to walk again. An older gentleman trying to grab the kids and take the kids to the ground had his elbow blown off. Now, when I told y'all to imagine that, that's my story. That happened to me and my family in the city of Detroit. A guy just recklessly grabbed a firearm, no lock, not registered, take it in his own hand, senseless, shoot straight through a window, not knowing where he's shooting at, and kills a 7-year-old, paralyzed a 5-year-old, handicaps an adult. The proliferation of gun violence needs to stop. It's affecting our community, it's affecting our children. But I'm gonna tell you, we would look at that and we'll say that's a tragedy. But I'm gonna tell each and every one of you here today, if we hear all this talking today, if we can have these gun locks and we don't use them, that's insanity. We need to take these gun locks, even if we don't have a firearm, give them to somebody you know. Educate a neighbor, because that can make you a hero. You see these backpacks? As we said, the CDC say 23 children are injured by gun violence every day. And out of the 23, 6 of them every day would not be able to have a backpack. 23 children a day, rounded off to 24. That means every hour we look at our watch, there's a child being injured senselessly by firearms, which could be prevented. It's not inevitable, but it's preventable. So I implore each and every one of you today, grab a lock, take this information, share it with your neighbor, share it with your friend, and you can be a hero so another little kid can have a backpack. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Whoa, that was touchy. I like it that, you know what I'm saying? We gotta give him another round of applause. That was good, man. So now, the main thing is, we can be anywhere in the world, we here trying to educate each other. So that means, if you ain't got a gun, give it to somebody who got a gun. A lot of us know people that like to get drunk, get high, and got guns and got kids. Take that to their house. Educate them how to use it. Because we tired of, again, waking up to a child that these kids could be the next president. You don't even get, we ain't not giving them a chance to even grow. They don't even go to school and meet their friends, grow up and become better individuals. You know, like I said, I was on life support for a year. I had to learn how to walk, talk, everything again. And I would die before I let a child or an individual, a human go through what I went through. So my thing is trying to educate and reach out to everybody. That's why I do what I do as a man of God. I'm going to keep juling everybody every day. That's why I love Since Hugs No Slugs. I do podcasts. I talk to individuals. I go to schools. I educate them. Because a lot of them look at the glamorous life of these rappers. These people who selling y'all stories that ain't even real. But you embed it in your head and start living by it. You doing stuff they ain't even doing. They just tell you this to get money. It's just like you go to Vegas, they try to give you a delusional with the eye, they delusion in your mind. Think about it.
Joshua, what's your telephone number so that educators can reach you if they want you to come and talk to the schools?
313-300-4012, or you can email me at hugs, HUGZNOSLUGZ @iCloud.com. No, gmail.com. And that's all we trying to do is educate each other, man, you know. Because when I was in a coma, guess what? Wasn't none of that stuff there with me. Them girls wasn't there. Them friends that say they friends, I'm gonna say they frenemies. As soon as you get back in the police car, guess what? As soon as they put you in them cuffs, guess what? They gone with the wind. Before you get found guilty, they gave up on you. Damn, I didn't get found guilty yet. You just said you loved me. You say you would die for me, but I get in the back of a police car. Before they even turn the corner, you gone. You don't even answer my phone, you block me. Make it make sense. So people need to just look at the world as a delusional world. People try to put a delusion over your face. Like when he speaks of the Bible and the gate, you need to come out that gate. Because a lot of people is misleading people to doing things to kill people for no reason. Why would you want to hurt your own people? Make it make sense. I don't care if you white, black, pink, blue, whatever. You a soul. When you die, it ain't gonna be no pink oil, no white soil. It's gonna be what? Dust. So we need to start realizing we can help each other. Oops, my fault. All you need is just to be more positive. A lot of people want to see change, but guess why they don't want to change? Because they scared to lose their fame. They don't want to look like a lame to other people. But everybody walking around, I want to see change. A lot of people say they want to see it, but they don't put the forth effort to do it. I met so many people. I want to do this, I want to do this, but guess what? Once the camera's off, they don't do it. I've talked to people, I ain't gonna say groups, whatever. Is y'all serious about this? Y'all just doing this for a clout. Guess what they did? Rob their community, guess where they at right now? You don't even hear them speak on issues no more. So if you're gonna do it from the heart. Be cheerful when you do it. Don't just do it for fame, for money. Because God know your heart. You can trick human, but you can't trick God. Everybody quick to say, I'm gonna do this in front of you. Oh, I swear to God, I'm gonna change it. Everybody did that. God, if you let this happen, I promise you I ain't gonna do this no more. As soon as you out, back on the feet, you smoking, drinking, fornicating, all kind of stuff. So, mean what you say what you mean. Don't just say it to get people to recognize you. I don't care. This been going on long, Sean to tell you, me and him spend our own money on events. We feed community, we clothe them, give them book bags and all that. I got sponsors. I love them. Break Tucci first, they help me out all the time. People, Metro staffing, the labor group, Inner Capital Funds, they help me out. But these people that want to see change. A lot of people sitting around don't want to see change. Y'all say y'all want to see change, but I don't want. If y'all want, step up, show it, prove it. Don't just tell me, show it. Your actions speak louder than your words. So, yes, sir.
I just want Councilman Newman to please, would you email him a copy of your medical report so he can get one blown up for you and laminated?
Yes, sir.
You ain't walking around with that tore paper no more.
I just keep all my old papers,
I don't
when
care,
speak.
just have him,
I got to.
have him upgrade you
Okay,
because he
okay.
got the capability.
I was meaning to bring that up with your animal.
Okay.
I'd like to give credit where it's due. It's true, I am a councilman, and I do want to have a monthly event. It's something that I promised to some of the groups that sponsored me in my campaign. But it was Joshua who came to me with this idea, and you were inviting me to your event.
Yes, sir.
And I said, and you wanted to do it in Detroit. I said, I'd rather do it in my district if that's okay. And he said, sure. And I'm so glad he did. I find Joshua and Desmond and Rosalind are so inspirational, and they need more and more chances to talk. If they're good now, just imagine how good they'll be like 10 times from now when they get on Oprah and all that kind of stuff. Let's give it a break.
Also, let everybody know, me and my sister, Melanie McGee, we're going to have an event real soon where we feeding people at a park and giving back to the community games so we can bring that love back to our community. And also, my brother back there have a grocery store. We throwing an event on the 1st. We giving out gun locks. We ain't gonna stop that till we stop the problem. We're gonna keep giving them out. He'll tell you, I'm on the phone. I called the brother back there. I called him.
Why can't we, police officers start teaching our kids? Why don't we have the police officers start teaching our kids in elementary? Because I taught my kids when they started at 5.
About gun safety?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? to this day, they will not touch my guns or my bullets.
Right.
So why don't we have our police
Angela,
officers
take some gun locks.
and teach our kids in elementary
Okay.
to start it off? So then, one kid sees them, teaching them, and they see the guy, one kid having a gun. No, put that down.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good, man.
I'm about to take it to somebody.
Oh,
I want you to do me a favor, man. Let them know about the event coming up on the 1st and the address so people can be more aware of the event starting.
Absolutely. My name is Raphael Wright, owner of Neighborhood Grocery on the east side of Detroit. On June the 1st, we are doing a cookout for the neighborhood. We are in the Jefferson Tropics neighborhood, but we also serve parts of Grosse Pointe, Mac, East Warren, etc. We're inviting everybody out. We're going to cook a bunch of food, just kicking a fellowship, but in the midst of, we're doing 3 events that same day. The first event will be a men's wellness day. We're just pouring into the men in the community. Real men need to take care of themselves, and this is an element of it. I am advocate for gun safety, so I wanted to give away gun locks along with other health, mental health, wraparound services for the men that live in the neighborhood or in the surrounding areas. We're doing a high school graduate party for right after that on the same day for high schoolers that are college bound, graduating, and may not have the means of getting, certain resources before they go to college. The same thing, mental health services. We'll be raffling off a laptop, giving away laptop bags and other resources there too. So that's June the 1st. It'll be running from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 500 Manistee, Detroit, Michigan, 48213. Follow us. 500 Manistee, Detroit, Michigan, 48213. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook for all updates. Manistee is off Jefferson, in Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram with more detail that we do have, full breakdowns of the events, sponsors, etc. Thank you.
I'm Jade. I am a Warren Centerline Prevention Coalition member. I'm also a preventionist at CARE of Southeastern Michigan. So I work in substance use prevention, so all things keeping the community safe.
Okay, and of course, you and I run into each other many times.
All the time, yes.
This lady is always out doing good.
Thank you.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
What again? Thank you so much for being out here. She got a great table set up.
Information about opiates, prescription pills, cannabis, nicotine, all the things that we're concerned about keeping out of the hands of youth. We know that recreational marijuana is legal for 21 and up, but we want to make sure that the right information is getting to parents and to families in the community.